Thank you, gentlemen. Both of you made liars, by the way, in the result of that game. The fans getting it correct in their fan vote, calling you guys to be the victors. So congratulations on that. 2-0 now against CLG. So looking pretty good when it comes to securing that first place slot by the end of the split. There's a couple scenarios that still play out with ties and things like that. I do want to approach something that Zyrene pointed out there first, which was the Baron that you guys secured, which really opened the game up, and that ward placement. You know, so part being fortuitous, but of just the fact that you guys were around the Baron, but you guys showed no hesitation in that call, Bjergsen.
It was actually not me, it was Turtle who was calling out that Jinx had a lot of gold on her. He had kept track of like how much gold he had, and he said that he's going to go back and he's going to probably buy Phantom Dancer or QSS here. He said she's going to back and we should do something off of this. So Turtle had been preparing that for about like 30 seconds to a minute, and he was like, as soon as she does something, either we go for a turret, we go for a Baron, and then the opportunity just arises, and we went for the Baron. It was just a really good call.
So a lot of foresight there for sure. Now let's go back to the beginning of the game. I want to open it up with an interesting level 1 ward placement, and I don't know if you were aware of this, Darius. You got away right before Link checked that bush with a Q. What was the plan there going in? Because the rest of the team was kind of setting up a line of scrimmage, and you went in for that one deep ward at the Krugs.
Well, just like in that moment in the game, I don't even know why I'm here at this desk or there because I just got shafted all game. But anyways, I was just there because they walked in, I put a ward. If he caught me, worst case scenario, I die, but I would have just TP'd out. It would have been fine, but we would have TP disadvantage, but I think having the ward there is really important.
Yeah, it's just since they invaded on our top side and we counter-invaded on bot side, Darius, he went for a really greedy board, but once you get that ward, you can pretty much spot where the jungler is going to start, because we have a ward on their side of the jungle and we have a ward on their top side of the jungle. So pretty much anywhere they started, we'd be able to know. So it is a bit greedy and he could have gotten killed, but it also paid off.
Exactly. You guys, your early game there, as you said, you definitely were focused, right? And that was one of the things that was mentioned throughout the cast, was the fact that CLG was looking to focus you, Darius. But you, in turn, the rest of the team reacted by Santorin going top. You secured that early first blood on Zion Spartan, which we felt was pretty crucial, at least in terms of getting Wild Turtle a bit ahead. Was that the game plan from the beginning, basically sacrificing top laner and focusing on the other top laner?
It's pretty known that TSM likes to have Darius in his own little world and on his own little island, and I think that just this game we had the opportunity to go for the trades. Right? We were able to go for the turret or go for a kill on Zion, and when a Corki gets ahead against Jinx, Jinx is a much later power spike. She really needs like 2 items to really get going, but when Corki hits the Trinity Force, we hit the Trinity Force before Jinx even hit Infinity Edge, so that was such a big power spike on Corki. So we just took that trade-off where Lulu was going to be weaker, but our Corki was going to be so much stronger at one point in the game.
Another thing is that with Lulu and Kennen, both low econ, they're both pretty similar, but Lulu is a lot more lower econ than Kennen. So I was kind of okay with it, although I did want to, catch the big waves, and we decided not to. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to make do with what I have, 20 CS to 80. No problem, guys, I got this. But it wouldn't be made possible with any other top laner, so it probably would have played out differently. The way Zion likes to play the 2v1 is he wants to get as far ahead as possible, and I guess that's one of the reasons why there was the Zion ban.
Right, so to that effect, though, the Lulu was utilized very well. It was demonstrated in that replay of Wild Turtle with the Bloodthirster, the Lulu Shield, and the Lulu Ultimate. I mean, it almost just in terms of fanciful thought, like I can't imagine the Corki going down at that point, right? So that gave you the security, I imagine, to take a lot of fights that maybe you wouldn't have been able to take with any other top laner, let alone one that then required some kind of an economy.
I don't like that plan, but that's what happened, yeah.
You want the opportunity to do a little bit more damage?
I'd like the opportunity to play League of Legends.
That's fair enough. That's fair. I can't argue with that. So then this begs the question: where do you have to look, like within the meta or in team play and team styles, to be able to support a top laner that will play more aggressively and has the opportunity to maybe play from the get-go, as opposed to scraping together money for the first 15 minutes?
It's a combination of me calling for the team and being forceful, and depending on what I pick. But it's also a combination of CLG spending a lot of resources to keep me down. They did really, really well in the 2v1 to get Doublelift on his own island where he can just get fed, and then they tried their best to put Kennen on his own island to get fed, and they set up those 2 waves while we got a little bit more advantages wherever our AD was, and when it shifted over, it just played out that way.
Bjergsen, thoughts?
It's really just that CLG, in the past, they were a very bottom lane focused team. Everyone says that Doublelift is the carry. He's always the carry of the team. But the new CLG, I really feel like Zion Spartan is the main focus of the team. They just like getting him ahead. In the 2v1, they really play for him to get ahead. And there's really no reason for us to pick another top lane carry and play into their style. It's much better if we just play our own style instead of playing into theirs. That is their real strength. And it really showed that they did play to the top side of this game, and we still managed to win against it.
Yeah, picking up the Zed there, Bjergsen, just kind of the final thing I want to touch on. We saw an astronomical CS lead there for you in the mid lane. It's been mentioned before, Zed is one of the few mid laners that you can comfortably pick blindly and knowing that you'll still be able to be aggressive in the matchup. You know, how do you feel you're evolving as a mid laner approaching the end of the split here and your ability to really open up the map for your team with individual plays in the mid lane?
I definitely think I can play other champions on Zed and blind other champions on Zed, but when they're giving us these kind of picks, like Lulu goes very well with Zed, it gives you the magic damage. Same with Corki, it just really opens up the Zed pick overall. Sejuani also great at setting up kills with Zed, so that game, Zed just is a really good pick, and since I'm very comfortable on it, we're very comfortable at playing that comp and playing that comp as a team, I don't see a reason not to pick it. And our pick Ben, the champions we play, it does often come up that we play Zed, and it might get a bit predictable, but I think that you can reach the kind of level of play with Zed that as long as your comp is good, even though their comp may be a counter comp, there's always a way to win.
I actually do want to touch on one more thing, and it just came to me because earlier when we spoke to Loco Doco, we asked him, you know, what are the improvements that you guys are going to make to not forfeit such an early lead to CLG? And his response was, well, we just have to play the early game better, right? Obviously, not looking to give away a whole lot of info, you know, before the game, prior to the game. So we touched a little bit on the early game, a little bit, and the top lane trade-off strategy, but what other factors did you guys consider in looking to come out with a stronger early game this time around?
Don't look at me. I didn't have a strong early game. I didn't play. Ask him.
All right, Bjergsen.
Like this game, we obviously had a really strong mid lane matchup. Even though they could have gone for the counter pick, Sejuani and Zed always have that kill potential. If Sejuani lands the ult, Zed can pretty much pop really any champion I can think of in the mid lane. So we did have a lot of lanes to play off of, the thresh lane bottom as well. So even though they had the stronger 1 to 6 jungler with Rek'Sai, obviously really strong duelists early on, as soon as we got to level 6 with Sejuani, that's where we really could make the plays. And the game is very different in 2v1, and I think CLG is a very 2v1 focused team right now, and they're very good at it. So maybe if we had the 2v2, it could have been even cleaner.
All right, I like it. But yeah, as you said, you performed well in this 2v1 scenario, which may be more their ballpark. So again, congratulations on that victory, bringing that series between the two of you to 2-0. Best of luck in the coming week as we approach the playoffs. Now, don't touch that dial, because when we come back, we're going to dive into our third game of the day, Team 8 versus Cloud9. Stay with us.
All right, guys, let's get our game face on.
Game pace.
Big lightning storm comes in, and now it's Xmithie off on the side, gets the death mark on him, flashes the wall. Bjergsen chases, looks like he might get the kill, and he will. Out he goes.
That hook being missed, slicing Maelstrom goes in. It's gonna Lustboy locked up as well as Santorin in the middle, but the back line of damage dealers is still able to do what they need to do.
Can he get any more? Maybe not. Wild Turtle fires in. There's the play. Doublelift, can he do the damage? The answer is no.
Solo mid will take down Counter Logic Gaming.